Next up, this book, like its subject matter, really needs no introduction. Gay author Joshua Gameson has capsulized the life and times of the one and only Sylvester in his new book entitled, appropriately, The Fabulous Sylvester.
In the late 70s, there was a lot of eccentricity that was being revered and successful. So that wasn't not as unusual then as it is now for somebody who is a little bit outrageous to be respected and admired, and people get excited about him. He also could sing, so it's not like you're just, the audiences that were excited about him were excited about his music a lot of the time. Sometimes that gets lost a little bit, but he really, he had a voice that was unlike, anything I've heard, really. And, when you're in the presence of something really unusual.
So a lot of people certainly talk about his falsetto and how he was able to hit the pitch and really high. That's what stood him out in the crowd.
Yeah, a particular kind of falsetto that sounded not like a man.
Gameson chronicles Sylvester's life from his late teens while living as a runaway in Los Angeles to his final days when the 70s gay disco diva succumbed to AIDS.
He dealt with it, with a kind of dignity that he had brought to other things in his life. I mean, he got messy a little for a while over it, and then he figured out how to exit this world with grace and fabulousness.
The Board of Supervisors proclaimed today, once again, Sylvester Day in San Francisco.
Those who knew and loved Sylvester and the era he represented in their lives gathered recently to celebrate his life and to pay tribute.
It was a time in our lives that were monumental. They were huge. They were special times. They were carefree. People didn't worry about things as much as they worry about now. And they're just days that I personally wouldn't trade for anything.
This was Billie Holiday and Diana Ross on LSD.
From his famous Cockette days to the early days with Martha Wash and his other favorite backup singer Janie, both by his side to the very end, Sylvester defined originality.
Sylvester and I had great times together, and we shared a lot of great moments together, and he was just fun, and I was Sister Jeannie to him. He loved his girls, Martha, Azora, and Azora's gone on in, but she's with him now singing. But there were really a lot of great moments, and I was pleased and honored, even though it was a sad thing, but it was an honor to take care of him in his passing. I sent him on to glory with macaroni and cheese, okay?
That was his favorite?
Macaroni and cheese and peach cobbler and Haagen-Dazs.
Towards the end of his life, even when Sylvester's bright star was fading, as he died suffering from AIDS, he carried on, some say clinching to the one thing that catapulted him to success.
He was really, deeply spiritual all through his life, and at the end, I think that was a very, very important part of his making peace. He talked about making peace a lot, and a lot of that had to do with our relationship with God.
To the young generation, the name Sylvester may not ring a bell, but reading Gameson's book just might teach them a thing or two.
That if you listen to his life, you have many lessons for a beautiful way to live more fully as yourself, and to recognize but not be restricted by boundaries like race and gender and sexuality.
The book is The Fabulous Sylvester, The Legend, the Music, the 70s in San Francisco. Henry Holt, publisher. It sells for $26 and is available at Books Inc. and different light bookstores.